In life, man has found many ways to relax, and in that life, nature has always been there. One of the oldest relaxations for a man was fishing. So imagine if someone decided to throw some spooky shit in there. This brings you to the world of fishing horror, a subgenre that has been festering for a couple of years now. It's still rather niche, as many people I've talked with are confused by the term. Games like Dredge have hit the mainstream running, but don't expect the world to discover the joy of golfing horror anytime soon. But I have grown to enjoy this niche and wanted to take a look at a few titles this spooky month. Most of the games are on the short side, so single game reviews are out of the question, but if Ape Together are strong, then winding some fishing line should keep it from snapping. Without further ado, we start with Lure by Blue Moon Games. It's a free game that's 10 minutes, basic plot is you pay to fish at some haunted Shinto shrine, just there's really no gameplay. You just press the fish and then catch something. It's not bad, it's playable, you don't glitch through anything, but there really isn't anything to talk about. It has one funny scare, but I don't wish to spoil it, as without it, the game isn't anything worth playing. Moving down the pond, we get Fishing Vacation by T-Boa Games. While two of the games on this list arguably go for PS1 style graphics, Fishing Vacation goes for the good old Game Boy. It even has a multitude of color schemes to choose from. The detail on screen is definitely higher than what the Game Boy typically had, but the sound effects and controls are rather faithful. The plot is that you and a friend are heading to his uncle's cabin to fish. You find the building empty with some oddities, like a fridge filled with fish heads. There's also lore on a mythological legend that you can read each night. Just don't get too spooked. The people in the woods don't like it when you run. The core gameplay loop involves you digging up worms and finding targets of opportunity to fish for. Find the dark spot, nail the QT, the toss your not Pokeball, then spam buttons to handle the catch. I will say that at first my QT inputs didn't seem to register, or else were really tight. Whereas on the third day, I was in perfect casting like early season Game of Thrones. And this lake is something else. You get some basics like bass or shoes, but quickly start catching the likes of jellyfish and great white sharks. I can't say I really noticed large differences in challenge with the various creatures. Some did give a bit more challenge, but ultimately catching them is rather easy. My main complaint is that my hands started to cramp up from spamming ZX or the arrow keys during all the fishing. I was nailing 8 to 10 worms every harvest, and the fishing don't end until the final worm is cast. Now, I've really enjoyed this title, and the story is campy fun. I'd suggest playing it for yourself. I will be talking about the ending, so skip to the timestamp on screen if you wish not to peek beneath the lake. So upon arriving at the cabin, you find that it has strange notes, plates for a family set out, and a locked cellar door. While fishing, you will trigger a scare, giving you the first of 3 keys. The game has a few minor decisions that alter the ending, such as if you listen to what happened to your friend. He claims to have suffered some kind of sleep paralysis, where he witnessed a creature outside the cabin window. We get brief glimpses of this beast as well. He will also offer to do some night fishing. Taking him up on this offer leads to you finding some type of humanoid remains, as well as another shoe, this one with an attached key. Over the course of the game, you've been watched and left strange items. By the end of this course, you'll have 3 keys and venture down into the basement. If you've been reading the book, it's on Sedna, the Inuit legend. She's part of a creation myth and ultimately became the goddess of the underworld. It tells the tale of a father who accidentally sells his daughter off to a creature disguised as a hunter. The creature would bid Sedna to track down the father as he saves his daughter. Well, in the basement, you discover a disturbing statue and bottles filled with messages. Messages that talk about how a man has sacrificed his daughter and wife. It's hinted the shoes you found were the shoes of the daughter, who your friend recognized. What's truly disturbing is a hole in the wall. Any hole is a goal, so go in there for a fun time. If you still want the best ending, then take the note and head upstairs. You and your friend go to leave, but he left the keys inside the house. What a klutz. Go to retrieve them and you meet Daddy. Yes, the father killed the mother and daughter as well as brought in the random sea creatures to appease Sedna. He was the beast in the tunnel and what was watching you from the shadows. Your friend saw Sedna at the window. She's also been watching you. Well, he's angry and fleeing is your only choice. Going to the cops results in the area being blocked off and nothing found but some of the biggest trouts you've ever seen. The game has multiple endings, one where you find nothing and you determine to return and solve the mystery on your own, a couple where you die and are sacrificed, the best ending we covered, and the basic horror movie stinger ending. If you don't take care of your buddy and hang out with him, he will be taken. Upon dropping you off at home, you see his eyes are that of a fish. He leaves, either possessed or just a husk. So yes, for $2 this is a fun little horror experience. It does lack in much gameplay, but you'll be done before it truly becomes tiring. If you want a fun horror experience that has some pretty solid endings, be sure to give this game a play. Well, I lured you in, baited you to stay, and now we reel it all in with Wretched Depths by Wretched Devs LLC. This is probably the most complex of the 3 games I'm covering. In this tale, you are Sam, a young woman driving into Twin Pines, a small town where everything but the fishing store is closed. Namely, she is here for Lake Imperium to fish oddities. 3 times a day, upgradable rod and lure, simple yet more in-depth fishing mechanics. Basic version is that you pick a time of day and then head out to fish at the lake. Fishing is simple, pick a spot, lower your lure, and move it around to hook a fish. Then simply drag him out or hold to slow him from pulling away. Careful though, a meter will fill, and when it does, the line snaps. Holding doesn't add much, but pulling when the fish resists will snap on most every fish. The meter does drain rather quickly between the fish resisting though. Once you gather enough fish, you can sell them off. This leads to buying upgrades, which leads to more bizarre fish. But you can't sell at upstanding businesses, so you seek out stranger clientele. The body horror is coupled with various paranormal activities around the lake. I won't bother with the story very much, as while you do find tape recordings, it's more hints and vague talkings than anything else. The game is fun, and I truly wish it was more built upon. This is largely noticed by the lack of accessible buildings. You only really have a use for the fishing shop, but Mike the owner referenced talking around. Sadly, nothing is open to you. The game isn't very scary, as it's more bizarre with the strange fish and ongoings that occur. As it stands, this game feels like an engaging side mission in a larger game. That isn't an insult, as this game is currently free and was a student project as I understand it. So yeah, that was a nice haul of games. I find this niche rather interesting and would love to revisit it one day with a part 2. There are other titles out there for this genre, some that even still are under the radar. If you've had any lucky finds in genre, let me know down below in the comments section. Anyways, I think the fish love me enough. It's time to make some women fear me.
We are fucking fish food.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.